Well, hello and welcome to another Faith, Philosophy and Life with me, Mr. Shelton. It's great to see you again, and I do hope that you are, as always, doing well. At least your families are, as well as you. So, today what we're going to do is we're going to be thinking about what it was like to be a first disciple. Remember, we're looking at a unit of Jesus. We've thought about who Jesus was, how he's portrayed in film and art, and we're going to go on to look at Jesus through the Apostles' Creed. So, go and grab your pen and paper, because here's our cheesy intro music. Brilliant. So our learning objective is to reflect on what life would have been like for one of the first disciples. Okay, so that's our learning objective there. It's going to be a good outcome if you can explain what the original disciples' life was like. It can be great if you can talk about what life was like in the first century, and it's going to be even better if you create a piece of writing that reflects this learning from both today and last lesson. So during today's lesson, we are looking at the Bible. We've got some media clips. We're going to look at life as a disciple, and then there's a creative writing piece as well. So to start off with, we're going to look at the main accounts of Jesus calling the disciples, getting them to follow him initially. So in the description below, you'll find a link that will take you straight through to my Google Drive, and that's got on it all of the worksheets that you need for today's lesson. So what you're going to do is create a flow diagram. That's where you've got a bit of information, an arrow, another bit of information, an arrow, another bit of information, and an arrow. And you're going to bullet point down the main ideas from both of these passages. Now, these are both about how the majority of the disciples were called. Some were called at different points. I totally get that, but we're going to focus on these specifically. So what are the main events? And bullet point those down, and as always, get ready to send those to your teachers. Come back to me when you're done. Okay, so what we're now going to do is we're going to add some more information to this. So I've got a media clip to play from Life Kids. A little bit childish, I know this, but it's also quite good. So let's watch this together and see if there's any more information we need to now bullet point down.
One day, as Jesus was preaching on the shore of the Sea of Galilee, a big crowd of people gathered. As the crowd grew, the people pressed closer and closer to Jesus.
Jesus saw 2 empty boats at the water's edge. The fishermen had left and were washing their nets.
Jesus stepped into one of the boats. It belonged to Simon and his brother Andrew.
Simon? Don't you mean Peter?
Well, later Jesus gives Simon a new name and calls him Peter, but that hasn't happened yet, so in this story, his name is still Simon.
Got it. So where were we? Oh yeah, Jesus asked Simon to take him out on the water away from the shore.
Right, and Simon did it. Jesus sat in the boat away from the shore and taught the crowds from there. When Jesus finished teaching, he said,
"Go out where it is deep and let down your nets to catch some fish."
We worked hard all night and didn't catch a thing, but if you say so, I'll let down the nets again.
Simon and Andrew let down their nets, and this time, when they pulled the nets out of the sea, they were so full of fish they began to tear. They called out to their friends who owned the other boat.
Guys, bring your boat over here. You're not going to believe this.
James, John, and their father Zebedee brought their boat over. Soon, both boats were so full of fish, they almost sank.
The fishermen were amazed. They knew Jesus had performed a miracle right in front of them. Simon fell to his knees.
He was in awe. Simon saw how powerful Jesus was and knew he must have been sent by God.
Oh Lord, please leave me. I don't deserve to be near you. I have disobeyed God.
Don't be afraid. From now on, you'll be fishing for people.
Jesus meant that from that day forward, they would be telling people everywhere about Jesus and his power, and because of that, many would choose to follow Jesus.
When they got back to shore, Simon and his brother Andrew decided to follow Jesus.
Their friends, James and John, left their boat with their father so they could follow Jesus too.
Those 4 fishermen left everything behind so they could follow Jesus' example.
They learned about Jesus, spent time with him, and discovered how to do everything the way Jesus did.
And that's how Simon,
Also known as Peter,
along with Andrew, James, and John, became Jesus' very first disciples.
Okay, so we said it'd be good if we could explain what the original disciples did when they were being called. Hopefully you've got that information now. And great if you could explain what life was like in the first century. And that's what we're going to look at now. And this is a very straightforward question. What was life like for the disciples? So I'd like to do that as a little subheading, or a mind map if you'd rather. And I found a clip from RE Quest, which I'm going to play to you.
So, I've been following this Jesus guy around for a while now, and apart from all the miraculous things that I've seen him do, I'm starting to think that he loves water. I mean, I know I'm biased. This is my work, my environment, my turf. Well, okay, my lake. We all call it our lake. So of course I'm a little biased. But listen to me. Jesus loves water. Like the first time I met him, we were out fishing in the lake, me and my friends. And he comes up to the lake, stands in the water, and he calls out to us, "Come and follow me, and I'll make you fishers of mankind." And then the next time that we saw him, we're out fishing in the middle of the night, and we were catching nothing. I mean, zilch, nada. And he calls out to us again, down by the lake, standing in the water, "Throw your nets on the other side." And we're like we haven't done that already. But he says, again, try it again. Throw your nets on the other side. And I'm telling you, we caught tons of fish. It's like the nets couldn't hold them. In fact, I told Peter the previous week that he needed to fix those nets. They were ripping. There were so many fish. And there was this other time. It wasn't just enough for him to be there by the lake with us. He walked out on the water. On the water. I mean, that was amazing. So there was this time when Jesus had been preaching on the lake. And after he'd finished, he said, "We need to cross over to the other side." And we were like, okay. We'd done this thousands of times. No one could have told what was going to happen next. I mean, we understand the weather. We've been fishermen all our lives. But no one could have anticipated what happened next. Out of nowhere, this storm came and literally completely engulfed us. It was like the waves were coming high over the bow. I was almost swept overboard twice. We were drenched, soaked, cold, terrified. And it suddenly occurred to me that Jesus was in our boat. So I climbed over everybody, I ran downstairs, and I grabbed him, I yelled at him, woke him up and said, "Jesus, Lord, Lord, save us, we're gonna drown." And he said to me, "Don't be afraid." Now, I've seen a lot of storms in my time, but I was scared, and I didn't mind admitting it to him. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Lord, I will try my best, but this is scary. Please come and help us." And he did. He walked right up to the side of the boat and he spoke to the wind and the waves. spoke to them like as if the wind and the waves have ears. I thought he must be sleepwalking or something. But the moment he spoke, the wind and the waves, they went completely silent. I thought, who is this man? Even the wind and the waves, they obey him. Who is this Jesus? I mean, he had power and authority from heaven. Power to control the wind and the waves and save our lives. He did it that day for us, and he continues to do it still.
Okay, so what we've now done is we've had our first and our second learning outcome, and we're now going to be looking at our third one, which is the creative piece of writing. So there is this point that I'm going to leave you because everything you need is there. So we're going to write a story from one of the disciples' perspectives. What was life like for you? Okay, you're going to write a story from one of the disciples' perspective about what life was like for you. What you need to do is you need to go through the questions I've got there in this creative piece of writing. So you need to talk about how your life is going to be different. You're going to talk about the sort of things that you might learn from your master. You're going to talk about the idea of things that he might teach. Don't obviously give everything, but think about things like treat others as you like to be treated, love your neighbor, do not murder, and all the sort of classic quotes that you know from the Bible. How's your life going to be different after meeting him? And what sort of things would you say how's it changed you as an individual? Get all that written up, get that photographs, get that sent through to your teachers, because we'd obviously like to see that. And on that note, I'm going to leave that there. So thanks very much for your time. Take care of yourself, stay safe, wash your hands, God bless you, and I'll see you soon.